All right. Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Love in Black and White. I'm your host, or your co-host with the most, Manny Martin, and along with me is my trusted sidekick, Jay Hollingsworth.
Big Irish Jay Hollingsworth. And don't forget the tagline, Manny. We already got a tagline.
That's right, putting the love back in you. Goddamn right.
Oh man, dude. So the first episode, good feedback we got from people, and also a lot of questions. So wanted to get right into it. Well, one of the things, kind of a little backstory on you, Manny. We both told our kind of like our dating history and what formed us as far as dating patterns, I guess you'd say.
Right.
But with you being married to one of the whites, how did you and by the way, you should tell Crystal to never listen to this podcast because there'll be shit that we'll be sharing that I don't know if you fucking will feel like you can't share it if she's listening. But how did you and Crystal meet?
So we actually met at the bank. I was her teller, and she was coming in and she was depositing a fat check. And I was like, oh, shit, son. And so we kind of hit it off, and we went on a date.
Wait, hold on. You don't...
Yeah.
You're fucking skipping steps. So you were, and by the way, you still are her teller. Fucking tell her to do the dishes. Tell her to do the laundry.
Right.
I'm just joking. Fucking, that's where we get canceled. No. Okay. So she's coming in. She's depositing a check. Like you didn't just the next night are on a date. So how did you like hit on her? How did you ask her?
Oh,
out?
okay. So she was trying to deposit this check into her dad's account, but me being a dumbass, I was the worst teller. Like I lost like literally $900 twice, and they still didn't fire me. And I was like, man, they must really need black people here. So I'm depositing, looking to deposit her check, and you can't just put it into somebody else's account. So I was like, unfortunately, we got to open up your own account. So she was like, all right, we could do that. And so we sit down at the table, and her dad sits down. And we're just kind of conversing back and forth, and she's telling me about how she snowboards. I'm like, oh my God, me too. And I don't snowboard. I've never been snowboarding in my life. She's like, I love hiking. I'm like, me too. I fucking love hiking. I hate hiking. So anyways, we finished the transaction.
She was there with her dad?
With her dad. Yeah.
Okay.
So like in the most respectful way, I hit on her. And then she literally...
Yeah, you lied. I did,
I think yeah.
The point of this is just, if you want to get a girl, just fucking lie.
Oh, man, it was so bad. And I mean, like, she was depositing a huge check, so I had to make my move. I was like, this is it. This is the one. I could finally retire. I could be a stay-at-home dad. And so she comes back in to the branch after we finish, and she's like, hey, would it be okay if I gave you my number? And I'm like, all right. Single at the time, so I was like, all right. So I literally...
Dude, sorry, dude. I was just going to say, what's so funny is that goes back to in the first episode when you were talking about you never make the move. It's always the girl that makes the move on you. Interesting.
Always. And so I literally, I'm like, okay, cool. I call her up, and we make a date to go meet at Barnes & Noble and Starbucks, right? And so I'm sitting there for like literally almost an hour, and she doesn't show up, and I'm like, all right, maybe I got ghosted. And,
you're saying the white person was late?
Always. She's always late. She's on CPT all the time, Jay. Like
Caucasian people's time?
Yep, CPT, Caucasian people time. It's insane to me because I'm surprised I didn't just get up and I was like, all right, I'm out. But she went to Walden Books as opposed to Barnes & Noble. And so completely, messed up. But fast forward like 5-6 years later, right? We end up getting married, and I found out, Jay, that big check she deposited was a student loan. So now we both owe that money. So hooray!
You know what? That's fucking perfect. So because that was one of the. By the way, did you notice we're wearing the same colors again? Fucking didn't.
I don't know how that happened.
Gray. That's fucking nuts. Gray's the official color of this podcast. Black and white, gray.
That's right.
Fucking so stupid. No, but the debt thing actually brought up a question. One of the questions. I was going to see how Yeah, we'll just get into this. All right, so
Yeah.
Stefan Ward,
one
our
and
buddy,
only.
he actually had 2 questions. So first one, he said, what amount of money would you spend without consulting your significant other? So but I'll let you think about it since you have a significant other right now, and I'll just actually you go first, and then I'll say how I would handle it if I was in a relationship.
Shit. That's a tough one, man. I mean, it really depends. If you guys are bringing in your own money or if it's like a joint account, it's but you got to be responsible too. But fuck, man, if like PlayStation 5's coming out, I don't feel like I got to run that by you. You know, it's like, I feel like in my mind, I want to say I should be able to drop $500 without you complaining, but I'll say to be respectful. Like,
No, don't
up.
fucking.
Oh, okay. All right.
The truth. I want the truth.
Okay. The truth. I think really it's cool to drop $100 at the most. I know, man.
Damn. You went from 500 immediately down to 100.
Because I gotta be real. I'm gonna be like, yo, hey Chris, I'm gonna probably clear it with her in order to get a PlayStation. There's no way I'm just gonna be like, I just bought 2 PlayStations for $1,000. Like,
right. And there's no wrong answer in this question as far as, everybody has what their thoughts are and I guess what they kind of hopefully discuss or agree with.
Yeah.
I was talking to my friend Aubrey. I don't think you know her, but she was saying, because I was telling her this is one of the questions that came up, and she was like, I don't believe in mixing like accounts. She's like, if I made the money, then I'm going to spend it how I want, which is interesting. Me in the same scenario, I just love, by the way, that you were like, man, I'm like a 500. And then you were like, let me be respectful. And I was like, just tell the truth. And you're like, like $20.
For real, yeah. Oh God.
Now, before I answer, is that the same amount as far as her? Like, is there an amount that she could spend without running by you that if you found out, you'd be like, that's too much? Or,
I mean, I would say probably $250. I would be okay with if she spent it, but I don't know why. In the back of my head, I feel like I feel like being married sometimes is almost like living with your mom again, because you got to clear shit. You know what I mean? I got to be like, yo, I'm going to go hang out with Jay this weekend. Hey, do we have any plans? Can I go on a road trip with Jay? You know, it's like, I don't make my own decisions.
You know what's interesting in your answer, Manny, which I'm, I don't know if you recognize it, is for her, you're like 250's cool. And you're like, for myself, 100.
Yeah. It's crazy. I don't know why. Like, that makes no sense to me that it would be different for her. It's because I'm okay with it, but it's like, I don't know. I feel like I have responsibilities too. I know I'm paying, all the bills and stuff, and she needs to focus on her like student loans and all that other shit. So,
and for the people listening that don't know you, like Manny's very financially, Manny is like fucking very responsible. Great credit, all that shit. And was also a great roommate. Like, I mean, and neither one of us ever had to worry about bills or anything. It was fucking
everything was always on time. Yeah.
Say that again.
Everything was always on time. I mean, we never butted heads. We were good.
I just had to run it by Manny if I was going to spend more than $100. Hey, Manny, can I get these 2 video games? You're like, all right, Jay.
Hey, Jay, can I
now
get this new
for
laptop?
me, okay, so if I'm in a relationship, I'm trying to think. Well, so I've dated girls that like 3 or 4 years, 5 years. So I never was in we didn't have like joint accounts in any of these relationships. So I never was like, oh, I feel like I need to run this by her, and vice versa. I never felt like, oh, she should run that by me. Now there'd be times where, and I do this with somebody I'm dating or you or my close friends, that where I'm like, if I have a major thing or it actually doesn't even have to be major. If I'm thinking about buying something that, I may get input. I'll be like, hey, Manny, I'm like, I asked you about investing and shit like that,
For sure.
And I'll get input and then kind of decide from that. But, it'll be interesting. Like if I have a joint account, then what would my limit be? So I'm thinking I'm in a serious relationship or I'm married and I have a joint account with someone. I guess also it would be how we discussed it up front. Like, do we have joint accounts? All that.
Right.
I would probably say maybe 500. Yeah, it would probably be like where I would just throw down 500 and not think twice about it. But I still might even just be like, hey, I'm thinking about getting this thing, just to get their input, not to get their permission.
Right. Totally.
But you mentioned debt, which actually was a second question of Stefan. I'm gonna fucking just make him French. His other question is credit score debt related. What would you do if you find out your partner has a 400 or lower credit score and or is tens of thousands of dollars in debt?
Man,
I'll let you handle this one first.
Yeah, okay. If it's a new relationship, I would say that could be a deal breaker for me. It's if you owe over like $100,000, you have a low credit score. That kind of shows me your responsibility level, and it's like I want to get a house. It's like I can't really fuck with you if your credit isn't on par with mine. I mean, don't get me wrong, you don't have to have an 800, but I mean at least be in the sevens. And, at least be making installments and responsible payments towards your debt. I don't know if I could, No,
this is fucking, it's so interesting. Okay, what if they have like 500 score, but they're about to file bankruptcy and wipe that shit out? Or are you still, is it the responsibility thing more than the debt thing?
Yeah, it's tough because I'm trying to be like Jay-Z and Beyonce. You know what I mean? I want you to be. I would love if my significant other makes more money than me. If she's making more money than me, like, hey, I like boss women. I like women who have their own shit going. It wouldn't be a deal breaker though if you're gonna file bankruptcy, because there's a lot of shit that goes into it. There's the medical bankruptcies that people can't. That's not their fault. There's some people who got into credit cards young and didn't know the whole thing. So I mean, from that standpoint, no, that's not a deal breaker. But if you're just like, if if you're living by some of my best friend's standards, yeah, it's like, yo, I'm just gonna claim bankruptcy in like 2 years anyways. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, fucking wipe that shit out. I'm going for the triple threat, the trifecta. Okay, so my answer on this is, and this is kind of my answer for everything with like a person's past. I've always said, like, as long as your past doesn't affect our future, I don't give a shit. So like if you told me you used to be a stripper, I don't care. That's cool. Whatever. Or
right. Now
if you were like, I was a stripper and I fucked some dude and I got AIDS, I'd be like, oh fuck. All right. That might affect our future, but, so I honestly, like, and I've also said, like, I don't care what a girl does, that I'm dating, as long as she has goals, whatever those goals may be. She can work at McDonald's. Is her goal to get on fries? then dope, But if I meet a girl, or if I'm dating a girl and we're like, hey, we're gonna move in together, or we're talking about it, and she's like, okay, just so you know, my credit score is 400. My immediate reaction to that would be like, cool, don't give a fuck, because I have shitty credit, but it's it doesn't fucking phase me, But then she's like, I'm $100,000 in debt. And honestly, if I'm in love with this girl, I honestly wouldn't give a shit. My first thing then would be, okay, how do we weasel this? How do we get this resolved? Is immediately my next thought. Can we do bankruptcy before we get married? Let's fucking wipe that out? What can we do? I honestly, it's so funny, Manny, because I wouldn't give a fuck about, like, no thought at any point would I be like, she doesn't seem very financially responsible. I know this could affect it. I'd just be like, all right, cool, that's fine. Let's get it figured out. Okay, I filed bankruptcy twice. You know that. Yeah. What were you saying?
I was okay. What about this though? Let's say she's 45. I mean, that's probably a little too old for you. But but she's 45. Lives at home with her parents. Has maybe like $200 in the bank and a 500 credit score. But she's like Beyonce. I mean, or she's like, or like Tyra Banks. She's just fine as hell, and great personality.
Yeah,
but no goals.
Honestly, I'd be like, I honestly wouldn't care about that she's living at home, because I like so many different scenarios have happened, dude. I fucking myself. I was talking about on the Hollings Worthless podcast about when I was homeless for like a week. I was getting ready to move. You never know. I'd be curious how she got there. Maybe I might ask about that. And if she was just, I don't know if there's anything she could say that I would be like, God damn. I mean, maybe she's at home because her mom's sick, or maybe she fucking, lost her job in COVID and had to move, or shit. For the last year and a half, I was homeless as I bounced between being on the road and then staying at Sean's during the week, or my friend Hillary's in Phoenix during the week. So the staying with their mom doesn't matter to me. $200 in the bank, I don't give a fuck. I guess the only thing I'd be like, okay, what is she? Is that her scenario? And she's just like, and this is what it'll be,
Yeah.
Or is she like, I lost my job and I got here, but I'm looking for work and I only got $200 to my name, but it's all about like, I guess, goals and stuff like that. But I wouldn't care about the credit score, or even if she had debt. If she's like the shit, then I'd be like, let's do it.
Okay, wait. So one more just to add on top of this, because this is a real person. And
is this somebody that happened? This happened?
No.
Oh,
So
okay.
this is a coworker, her best friend. She was like 30, probably 37, 38. Had never lived on her own and was a dog walker. And I'm just like, damn, if you don't have any type of goals, like, I'm trying to be with people who are like motivated, because it's like, I don't want you just living vicariously through me. I want you to at least be trying to pursue something.
Can I tell you something?
Yeah.
You know the dog whisperer?
Yeah.
Came over here, no money, started out as a dog walker.
Shit.
I mean, it's like, it's the other thing too is like with what we do with comedy. I mean, dude, we follow a crazy dream, and we've talked about this before, where it's almost like a lot of times you have to live with blinders on. Like if you stopped and thought about what the odds are against you to make it, whatever making it is for you, you'd be like, this is fucking impossible. So, if she's a dog walker, I don't give a fuck. Cool. I like dogs.
Wait. Last thing. Okay.
That's how I love it.
Okay.
You just want me to be like, fuck that bitch.
Yeah. Okay. Non-funny comic who has been pursuing it for 20 years, living it home.
No, hell no. Fuck that bitch. You found my kryptonite. Oh fuck.
Man.
I mean, well, you know me. I won't date a comic, or it would take a miracle for me to date a comic.
Yeah.
I've talked about this on other shit too. It's like for me to date a girl that's a comic, she would have to literally make all the moves and initiate it, because I would never want like anything misconstrued or somewhere down the road he used his position of power to be, whatever. I'm like, I thought you were cute and I asked you on a date. You could have said no. Fuck, I don't know. So yeah. Those are great questions from Stefan.
It's such we really have to like tread so carefully now in this industry. You can't, you can't be in a power place and date somebody who's less than, it's wild. The rules of engagement have changed 100%.
I mean, I'm like, dude, that would never be, that's never a thought. I mean, but then again, I would never be like, oh, fucking blow me for stage time. I mean, but if I was just asking some girl out, and then, years later she was like, well, he was the headliner and I was just featuring. And so shit never gives in my head. All right. I wanted to bring this up. Carla Allen posted on YouTube a comment about last episode. I talked about losing my virginity when I was 16 and the lady was 21. And I was like, this is a woman. And Carla's like, enjoyed the podcast, of course. But she was like, if this story was in reverse, that's rape. I mean, that would be rape. And I'm like, fuck, that's a valid statement. Now, I will say, when I met the girl, we met at a 18 and over bar. And I don't know if I ever told her my age. I probably, to be honest with you, I probably made a point not to tell her my age because I was just trying to lose my virginity. So, which is crazy though, because I mean, again, if the roles were reversed, it wouldn't matter. You still could, if you were a dude that had sex with a girl who was 16 and she never told you or lied or whatever, tough shit. That's fucking scary.
Dude, it is so scary. And that's the thing. It's like, you think about any person you've dated or even hooked up with in, you know, the 30, 40, however many years you've been on this earth. And it's like, you never ask anybody their age. You know what I mean? Like, I've never asked anybody I'm dating, like, you know, in the first night, I'm not like, how old are you? You know, that's not.
You just ask their weight.
That's so stupid. But yeah, just shit. I don't know, man. Like, what are your thoughts on that? Like, how do you even? I mean, I guess if you're at a 21 and over, or even if you're at an 18 and over bar, but shit. I mean, what if you're at a house party? You don't really you assume everybody is the same age. You don't assume anybody's under. But I mean, it would like 100%. The law is not in your favor, even if you had the best of intentions, and it's
unless you're a girl, then it's like, you know.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, for sure. Mary Kay Letourneau, you know, it's like crazy, completely different standards. So
yeah, I mean, as far as like, do I have any trauma from that or anything? No, I fucking no. I was ready to go right afterwards, you know. But yeah, it was an interesting point, and it's a valid point that she made up. If the roles were reversed, this would be a fucking crazy story. I mean, dude, there was a girl that came out recently talking about a very famous comic that she was like 16 and he was, I think, 20 something or whatever, and like they dated, and the dad knew that they were dating. They both knew each other's age, but I mean, it's interesting because she says, like, in the whole thing, she pursued him. She wanted to have sex with him. She was all over him. But she's saying now, looking back on it, where she's 30 something ish, you know, that she like has regrets about it. But dude, it's a fucking, that's why I'm just like, no, let's see ID. We need to fucking verify everything now.
I mean, I'm literally looking at Elvis and Priscilla. She was 14 at the time, and I believe that her parents knew that she was dating Elvis, man. And I don't know if it was just different times and things were more acceptable, but I mean, what the fuck do you have in common with a 14-year-old? That's the hardest part about it. It's like, no,
it's I don't. Fucking jailbait rock.
Exactly, yeah. Like, I mean, even if I was single right now, I don't want to have a conversation with anybody between the ages of like 18 and 22. You know, it's like you don't have anything interesting to talk about. You know, so
yeah, like, oh my god, fucking totes, yas, yas, queen. Excuse me, Guyanese girl or gal, excuse me. She asked a question about why am I single? She said, "Okay, Jay, why are you single?" On the thing, because I wanted to do a show with Manny. It wouldn't work if it was two guys. No. So one thing with me from before stand up, anything I've always or anything I've been involved in, I'm very focused on and goal driven on. I guess kind of becoming the best of whatever I'm doing, whether it was I worked in the tech industry. I was I worked at Yahoo, and I started off as tech support. Then I was then I was a supervisor, then operations manager for the small business division. And I was always working, but I loved it. Like, I was like, you need overtime, I'm there. I remember one time I came in at 7 a.m. and then I was there till 2 a.m. because there was this backlog of shit, and it got me, points or showed that I was like dedicated to work. When I was doing martial arts, I was very focused on that. I'm doing 7 nights a week or 7 days a week doing martial arts, working on getting my black belt, opened up a school. Then I'm, working a day job during the day, then at night. So a lot of times, and then now with comedy, it's like, when the shit's open, you're pretty much almost every night you're out and about, especially when you're first starting out. You're trying to hit open mics as much as you can. So I've always said it's like, with as far as now with comedy, which I've been doing 12 years, it's what are date nights usually? Date nights are usually Friday and Saturday. And Friday and Saturday, I'm usually at a comedy club, probably out of town, doing stand-up, for work. So I mean, and I've said for the longest, it takes a very specific type of personality, guy or girl, to date a comic. We're very self-centered and focused on our careers. And it's, I think it was Patrice O'Neill, I think, was saying that, like, he was in a relationship for a long time with this lady, and he would talk all the time about how she knows that it's comedy and then her. And I was like, God damn, you know. I mean, and it would, if it ever was, obviously this scenario would never come up, but if a girl was ever like, you got to choose comedy or me, I'd be like, well, we had a good run. So I mean, and it's also like, and I know I have, it takes a lot for me to be like, I love you, to say I love you. Ken Garr. I was telling him about the podcast. Yeah. Well, Ken and I have a running joke where Ken just got married. Congratulations to Ken. But we have a running joke where for the longest it was like he would meet a girl and they'd known each other for a week. I'd be like, have you told her you loved her yet? Have you proposed? And then the opposite for me, he's like, well, Jay, one day that black heart of yours will open up and you'll meet a nice. And I'm like, it's just, it takes a lot for me to say I love you to someone, because I feel like I don't just throw it out.
Exactly.
You know, and then I also know that I have my own issues, like abandonment issues from my mom. Growing up, my mom used to threaten to put me up for adoption or award me to the court or shit like that for like dumb shit. Like, you didn't vacuum the living room, we're going to award you to the court. So if I know of myself, like if I'm in a relationship with someone and I feel like they do me wrong, that I have an easy time of, I can cut off my emotions. I don't wish them ill will. I wouldn't be like, oh, I fucking hate that person. I'm just like, all right, cool, I guess we're done. And then it's very hard to get me back to where I care again. So right. It's a long-winded answer, but that's I think those are some of the reasons why I'm single. And I don't just be throwing my dick out there. This shit's precious.
This shit ain't free.
It to anybody. Yeah, you get it. Fuck.
Dick ain't free.
Cock. Fucking throwing this dick out willy-nilly. Very, very hoity-toity with the cock. All right. Natasha Vincent. My friend Natasha Vincent asked, great question, especially for this podcast. And you can go first, Manny. Do you, or have you in the past from interracial dating, heard statements, comments, or received looks, in the past, positive and or negative?
Never. No, just kidding.
What if you were like, only from Jay?
Oh,
like,
man,
you dating that white bitch again?
Exactly. Man, it is rough. I mean, for the most part, everybody is like, especially living in a liberal place, we're good, right? When you're on the West Coast, you don't see it as much. But I will say this, like, there's been times when I've gone to like Eastern Washington with Crystal, and it's just like, you get those conservative kind of looks, and they're just like, what is he doing with her kind of shit. And then you'll see the reverse in comedy when you're in a black room, and it's like, oh, there he go with a white bitch. You know what I mean? And it's just like, so you get it from both sides. But then again, it's like, you do feel like sometimes you get the people who are like, hey, way to go, guys. We support you. You know what I mean? And it's just like, what the fuck? So, I mean,
I've always supported you dating white women. I'm like, stay away from the women of color. Yes.
Oh, man. What about you?
I'm trying to think, because it's just growing up, and the people that knew me growing up, it was kind of, I was always around black people, and so it was kind of a natural progression, I guess, of to date women of color, and so I never got anything from people I know. My mom, dude, I remember fucking my mom when I was living in Bellevue, Washington. My roommate was Mark Cooker, and my mom, she was like, oh, there's this beautiful black woman that she was working, like, she worked for perfume or whatever at Nordstrom's. There's this new girl that we hired that oh, she's so beautiful. She's totally your type. So my mom set me up with this hot chick. We went out.
Yeah.
Ended up, messing around a little bit. Come to find out she's bisexual, and she had a lesbian girlfriend in Atlanta that she was waiting for her to move out. But she wasn't lesbian that night, Anyways, so fucking stupid. But I was like, thanks, Mom. This chick's she was hot. But I'm trying to think if when I lived in Florida, I lived in Tampa, and there's a place called Ybor City, which is kind of like they shut it down, and it's almost like Mardi Gras every weekend. Dude, I went there 4 different times, and every fucking time I was there, I got into a fight or about to. And like one time, so I'm it's not that I'm oblivious, because I'm very aware of my surroundings. I'm aware of my surroundings, but I also don't give a fuck. Like if you have a problem with it, that's not going to faze me. I'm going to do what I'm going to do. But I remember me and this black girl, we were at some club in Ybor City. I remember it had multiple floors, and we're walking, and she's like grabs my hand and is pulling me. I don't know if we were going to the dance floor or whatever. And so as she's pulling me, and then we walk by somebody, and this dude like fucking tries to shoulder check me. And then we got into this, and I don't know. I don't know if it was because I was a white dude with this beautiful black woman, or if it was just, oh, he's a big dude, I'm going to try and kick his ass, which he didn't. And then I handled that, and then, dude, it was crazy though. After that 4th time where I'm like almost either got into a fight or almost did, I was like, I don't need to be down here anymore.
Exactly.
But I don't know. I don't think I've really I've had like comments where like, if I'm with some girl, not so much like not like, oh, you guys shouldn't be together, or you shouldn't be with him. I've had where people are like, God damn, that girl's fine as fuck, or whatever, commenting on the girl.
Right.
I've also had dudes where they'll try and like flirt with the girl in front of me, and I'm just like, go ahead, and then she'll usually would clown them, and they'll look at me. I'm like, you're the fucking dipshit that tried to fucking hit on her.
Exactly.
I don't know. Have you ever had that where somebody tries to hit on Crystal in front of you? Or an ex?
Yeah, or an ex. I mean, I've had that happen multiple times, and I'm just like you. I'm just like, go ahead. You know what I mean? Like, if you want to try,
shoot your shot, homie.
And I think that's being like just secure in yourself. But it's like, for the most part, I think people are chill. But I will say this: I think that, just looking at society as a whole, I think that they are more accepting of a white guy with a black woman than a black guy with a white woman for some reason. And I don't know if it stems from, I wonder, like, on the black side, if it's more of a, oh man, he's siding with the enemy kind of thing. And then if it's, the white guy, it's more of a, oh, you know what, he's not afraid of oppression and breaking norms and all this other, like he sees the plight.
He's not afraid of oppression.
Not afraid of
that guy.
You
can tell that guy ain't afraid of oppression. He embraces it.
not oppression, but he's he like it's more like he's down for the cause kind of shit. You know what I mean? So I feel like he sides with us, and he's wanting to break the chains of everything, and not take the easy way in life, I guess, if you will. I don't know if that makes sense.
No, I know you. I should say also too, it's not lost on me also that I'm a fucking giant. So some people may, if I was a 5'8" white dude that whatever, look like I don't know, a fuck boy, whatever. But if I was a little tiny dude, then I might get more shit. Like I remember, I had a buddy. We were somewhere, and he was getting all kinds of shit, but he also was the kind of person where, like, fucking if he's around black people, he's like fucking trying to be like, I'm cool and this and that. I'm always like, if I don't know someone, white, black, whoever, if I'm in an environment and I don't know anybody, I kind of just take everything in. I sit there quietly and I kind of don't speak until spoken to, and then I'll go from there. But I would never. I remember the dude though, and I remember the thing specifically. We're at like a house party, and I was just sitting in this chair chilling, and he fucking was just talking over and over again. This black dude finally was like, hey man, you should just chill like Jay's doing. And I was just like, I don't know, man. It's just like, hey, what's up, my brother? You know? I'm trying to think if I've got it from, you know, I was trying to think at first if I had gotten it from black dudes. And I again, I don't really think, and I'm trying to think if I ever got it from like white girls or white guys. And I don't know. And again, I know that I'm a giant and I could be maybe intimidating if you don't know me. But I also think I might put off a vibe that I don't really give a fuck, you know,
right.
Before comedy. I mean, I've always, you know, I'm like I said, I'm always very aware of my surroundings, and I take everything in. So,
right.
Yeah, I've seen it though. I've seen it, you know, happen to other people, both black guy, white girl, and white guy, black girl. I've seen it in different scenarios, but I haven't really fucking haven't really got it. You know, I don't think. It's interesting, you know. It's and I don't know what the answer is to that as to why. Have you ever had to or gotten into a fight or almost come to blows with anybody?
Nah, everybody's always been like chill, and I mean nobody's ever actually like stepped to me. And you know, I'm like 6 foot, you know, 200 pounds, so it's like, you know, I sometimes I forget that it's like I look maybe more intimidating than what I actually am, you know, like for the most part I'm peaceful, but it's like, you know, I've been in quite a few fights, and
you put your bass in your voice.
Yeah, I'm like, hey motherfucker, you know what I mean? Like, it's so funny. I remember, I'll never forget, I was at the bank. This was like when I was a teller, and this old white guy came in and he was talking to me, and he was like, yeah, I need to take $100 out of the bank. And I was like, okay, just need your ID. And he was like, you don't need my ID. Everybody in here knows me. And there was this long ass line, and I was just tired at the end of the day. And I'm just like, I start popping my knuckles on the counter, like not knowing I was doing that. And I was like, look, there's a long line back there. If you want to wait in line for somebody else, you can, but I'm not going to play these games with you right now. Either you can give me the ID or you can, you know, go wait in the back of that
Give
line.
me the ID, motherfucker.
And I must have been popping him loud because all of a sudden he started kind of trembling in his face and was like, you know, and he was like, no, it's not a problem, you know. And I was just like, you forget sometimes that people, you know, see you differently than what you truly are, because even like I'll get in a road rage, like, all right, somebody will be road raging, they'll pull up alongside of you like, hey mother, and then they'll see that you're black, and then they're like, oh, and then they pull back and, you know, get behind you and shit. So, you know what I mean? It's goofy. But
you should have said to the dude, you were like, sir, I'm sure everybody knows you here, but to me, all white people look alike. So I don't know you. Give me your fucking ID. I wanted to talk about, or I put this on the notes for us to talk about, because I was when I did, you know, Tahir Moore, right? Or do you know Tahir? Mm-hmm. Yeah, I did.
Well,
Tahir
I don't
Zoom
think he knows me.
Show.
But
I've done it twice now, but the first time I drank a whole bottle of whiskey and I was fucking gone. But somehow they got on the topic of ass eating, and I was screaming on this thing, I won't eat ass. And BT Kingsley was like, Jay, you're going to have to eat ass. You're going to meet a girl. I'm like, I will not eat ass. So I wanted to I put that down as a note, ass eating. Do you, have you, would you, thoughts on it? Have you had it done to you?
I have never eaten ass. I've never wanted to eat ass. Like, I've never wanted anybody to touch my asshole. Like, leave my booty hole alone.
Dude, but that one time when you were short on rent, you remember?
Yeah, I mean, you know, I needed to. I had to.
Yeah. I mean, rent's got to get paid. You got to keep that credit score up.
But, you know, it's so crazy to me, man. Like, so, you know, when I was doing the podcast with Jubal and Alex, they were like, you don't eat ass, Manny? I'm like, no. I was like, why? Like,
they were talking about they do that?
Yeah. They were like, you've never just licked the booty hole. And, like, even Chris Rodriguez, he's like, you never licked the booty hole? I'm like, no, man, I have no passion to lick the booty hole or do any of that. Like, shit comes out of there. That's how you get hepatitis. Dude. Like, I don't understand.
Can I just say, For the listeners, they may not know this. That is such a Manny answer. You know, you can get hepatitis from that. That is such a fucking Manny Martin answer for that. Out of all the things, like, yes, everything you said is true, and yes, you can get hepatitis from that.
It's always some shit after the fact that they're like, I didn't know you could get hepatitis. Goddamn, you know what I mean? It's fucking crazy to me, man. It's like, what about you? I've never dated anybody who was like, hey, what do you think about, you know, like I did with my first girlfriend, you know, there was a little booty play in there one time, you know what I mean? A little anal, you know, that ain't, you know.
Why you say it? You say it like you're being accused of a hate crime. You know, I just what the fuck? Wait, what? Go on. Say this again.
She wanted to try anal, so I was like, all right, let's do it. And so,
you
we did
fucking
it
mumbling. This is a safe space. You can say anything, Manny. You fucked her in her ass.
once. And that was it. I mean, and it wasn't even like great. You know what I mean? It's like, you know, I don't want to ruin somebody's joke, but it is. It's like going from like something like with Astroglide to like just, you know, a tough space to be in. I don't want to.
So I've had first of all, I've never requested this. A girl licked my asshole, and I was like, I saw her in a different light because I'm like, I know what fucking comes out of there. Dude, my dad one time told me to if you go to a girl's place, look at her toilet.
Yeah.
Be like, because how she keeps that clean is probably how her asshole is. But so I had a girl lick my ass one time. It was fine. I mean, I remember at the time I was like, oh, that's an interesting, different experience. But I also immediately at the same time was like, if this never happens again, totally fine with that.
Yeah.
I've never licked a girl's asshole, never ate a girl's asshole, whatever the fucking term is. Yuck. But
yeah.
I remember I was dating this one girl, tall, beautiful girl, beautiful. And she like, I don't even know how you bring that topic up in just casual conversation. Be like, hey, can you pass me the Smuckers? Do you want to lick my asshole? but we were having like just a casual conversation about it. And she was saying something to the effect of like, you know, would I ever do that? And I was like, no, never. And I remember her saying like, going, I'll take a shower. And I told her, I was like, there's not enough showers in the world for me to ever stick my tongue in anyone's asshole. Dude, Beyonce, fucking Selma Hayek, you can name them all off. And I don't, fucking no. It just
200,000.
Dude, it's so gross to me. And what trips me out is the pride. You know, I mean, I have a joke about it, but I'm like the pride people. Oh yeah, I'll ask people doing crowd work to set up the joke. I'll be like, do you eat ass? And it's never just like I would like if that was your thing, I would think you would have to tell people like you were a spy and had a secret. Like you'd fucking look around and be like, yeah, man, I eat ass every once in a while. Don't fucking. But people are like, I eat ass. Yes, they have like fucking trophies and awards, and they're just proud of. Like, what the fuck? It makes no sense to me. So, yeah, like if I met a girl and she was like, that's the only way I can get off, I'll be like, well, we had a good run again. You know,
exactly.
You will never get off with me because I will never fucking do that. And and it's also a thing where I've always said, like, I'll never ask you to do anything that I'm not willing to do myself. And I have no interest in that. It's just, oh God, it's fucking.
You know, and I wonder if it's because like, you know, not to get too graphic, but I've had some pretty bad shits in my life, you know, and I'm just like,
that's what I said. I know what comes out of there. Like a girl licking my ass. I'm like, dude, I don't know. Now have you? I'm the same with. I've had a threesome before. And I honestly, you know, obviously at the moment it was cool, but also again afterwards I was like, if I never have a threesome again, totally cool with that. And I don't have like a want or desire to be like, fuck, I wanna do that again. And it was the girl's idea. It wasn't me going like, hey, I want a threesome. Have you ever had a threesome or had somebody say they want you to like, let's look into it?
Yeah. Like a girlfriend in the past was interested in one, but I'm just like, I'm so ADD that it's just like, I'm like, God, man, I don't want to get stage fright. I don't want to let anybody down. I also don't feel comfortable with anybody behind me in the room. You know what I mean? Like, so,
Yeah.
it depends because it's like we didn't really go into detail, but I wouldn't really be comfortable if it was two dudes. If it was
Oh,
if
yeah.
it was if it was me and another dude with this girl.
Yeah, you want
but-
3 dudes, right?
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, that's the only way I get down.
You want a girl there? Ew, gross.
Ew.
Yuck.
Ugh.
Yeah, I don't know. I think the reason that, God, dude, can you imagine too if you had a threesome and maybe they're both just fucking 10s, but
Yeah.
for whatever reason, like you said, stage fright or something, for some reason, one girl, you're killing it. And then the other girl, and you can't perform with that girl for some reason. Then you're like, dude, there's so much shit I would be in my head about. Like you said, like I think one of the reasons is like, if I'm with somebody, I want to try and make sure they're satisfied. And now you got fucking 2. You're like, Jesus Christ, this is a lot of work.
Oh my, dude, can you imagine that? Like, and say for instance, you're with your lady long time, and
Wait, what? How did you term that? You're with your lady long time? Is she Asian?
so, so let's say you've been together for a while, right? And then all of a sudden you have a 3-way, and then all of a sudden you're performing better on the other person than you are your lady, and then that's gonna put some weird dynamic in your relationship, or this other girl gets your lady off more than you can, or a dude does. I just feel like it puts all these weird dynamics in your head. And then to backtrack over to the ass eating, like if my wife were to do that, I would look at her if we had kids and I'd be like, don't kiss my babies, please.
Yeah.
Don't kiss my babies. I can't.
Yeah,
I don't want to see that.
I remember in The Sopranos, he got a hooker and like she blew him or whatever. And he's like, it's been so long since I had a blowjob. And she's like, your wife doesn't do that? And he's like, nah, she's the fucking mother of my kids. Fucking. About the threesome, you said something, and I was like, oh shit, that's here's what it is. And by the way, as I say that, anybody listening to this, anything that we talk about, I think I can speak for both of us, Manny. Anything we talk about, if that is your thing or it's something you're into threesomes, you're into assing or whatever, I'm not judging you or I'm like, God bless you, whatever works for you. I'm just telling you for me and what's in my head, and Manny's telling you like our thing. I'm not. If you're a fucking ass eating connoisseur, God bless you. Be the fucking Michael Jordan of ass eating. Go for it, And I'm sure you're. Yeah, exactly. fucking gargling. But that makes me think of like along with the threesome, like threesome or open relationships. Like on Aska, we did a interview with a polyamorous I don't know. It's a couple or a throuple, they call it, 3 people.
Right.
So, have you ever been with someone or dated someone, or how would you react to Crystal? Let's say Crystal, with your wife. She comes up to you and is like, "Hey, I'm for whatever reason, I'm having thoughts of, maybe us looking at an open relationship. You could sleep with other women, and and you have to be okay with me sleeping with other men." How would you traverse that?
I couldn't do it. I'd just be like, if you really have that passion, we should just get a divorce. You should seek other relationships. Cause it's like, I couldn't do that. But if you want me to date other women, that's fine. You know what I mean? But no.
Yeah.
But it's like,
Okay, actually.
Okay, yeah.
In the middle of this, okay, let's say she does that. She doesn't want to date other dudes, or she doesn't want to bang other dudes, but she's like, I'm and she doesn't even want it for herself, but she's like, for whatever reason, hey, I think maybe you should, like if you're on the road, it's okay if you hook up with someone, just wear protection. How would you react to that?
I would still feel weird. I'm like, damn, I like that. That would be. I don't. That would put you in a weird place. I don't think I could do it. I don't know, man.
So my whole thing, I 100% couldn't do the thing where I couldn't be in an open like if we're in a relationship, if I'm like, this is my girl and you're like, that's my guy or whatever, I'm not cool with the open relationship because I don't like the idea. If you're mine and vice versa, I don't want you fucking some other dude. And if I dated a girl and she's like, you know, when you're, even if she gave me the green light, when you're on the road, you can do whatever. I wouldn't do anything, and I wouldn't even be comfortable doing it, because it just, then I feel like then what do we have? You know, then we're not in a committed relationship. I feel like, even if it's okayed by her, I wouldn't feel right for it. I think a lot of my shit I get of how I view dating and relationships. Maybe that's why I'm not into ass eating or whatever, is because I'm being raised by my grandparents. You know, that's when I think of my mom and dad got divorced when I was so young. So that wasn't a successful relationship. And growing up, my dad he was like a ladies' man. He would fucking be banging girls all the time, you know.
Same with mine.
Your dad was banging girls all the time?
Yep. Yeah. Just dudes. I think I want to say the 80s, like just different generations, right? So they probably 70s, 80s. I was more of a like, you know, you're thinking Studio 54, just banging everybody, right? You know, it's like chlamydia's going around. People, you know, you can cure that shit.
Hepatitis, you know, from ass eating.
You know, but then when the 90s hit and AIDS got, you know, huge, it was like, oh, shit, we need to slow down, you know? So I think that, you know, our grandparents' generation, I mean, every generation has their shit, right? It's like our grandparents' generation, they were really about sticking together, staying married. But from like what I know, there was a lot of abuse in like a lot of like old school relationships. Like, you know, like it was okay to like hit your woman and, you know, all this stuff. And then it's like going forward in time, 70s, you know, it's just more people were stepping out and being able to do things and just free love, all this stuff. You know, it's like, think about this. This is kind of an interesting thought. It's like there's a lot of gay guys who ended up having kids and were married, but actually, you know, were just posing, and then now it's okay to be, you know. So,
dude, and so I think I get when I think of a successful relationship, I think of my grandparents. So, you know, and I I had a joke about, you know, freaks in general, and there had to be freaks back in the day. So, you know, I was going to say, I can't imagine my grandmother or my grandfather being like, hey, let's try a threesome, you know? Like, but there had to be freaks back in the day. Somebody's grandma was back there getting a train ran on them. And some old woman's name, Gertrude. Fucking Gertrude down the street. She fucking takes them all.
Well, Richard Pryor's grandmother was
that's true.
Like, ran a brothel. So, I mean, there was definitely freaks everywhere, and it's like, don't let the time fool you. I mean, people, they always try to act like they saved themselves for marriage. They weren't. They were hoes too, you know. So.
Dude. All right. So let's as we start wrapping it up, we should start having we should do a teaser every episode for like what's coming up on the next one. Like last one, we said, we were going to talk about ass eating. So on this one, I don't know what the teaser will be for the next one, but or is there a topic that you had?
Let's see. What's a good topic that's out in the love world right now? Ooh, okay.
WAP?
I'll tell you what. Yeah, WAP. We should talk about WAP, but we should also talk about what's like. I want to know what it's like to date in the new COVID era. Like, what are the acceptable norms? Like, what do you feel about bringing, you know, people back to your place, or is it, you know, what precautions are you taking?
That's fucking great, Manny. That's why.
There you go.
That's why you're the best, Manny. That's a perfect teaser. I had a date. I guess you'd say. Was it 2 nights ago? With a girl that we've known each other now for about 3 years, and it's crazy. But okay, I won't like give details on the date, but I 100% I can talk about that. So that's what the next episode will be on Love in Black and White with Manny and Jay, putting the love back in you. Do you have anything else you want to plug?
No, I just want to definitely thank everybody for checking this out. You know, please feel free to comment, send us as many questions, and we'll try to get to all of them. But outside of that, I'm joining an improv group, man. I don't know, that was interesting. So, you know, I don't know about doing comedy right now, but it's like, it's definitely interesting. I'll promote it a little bit more. Oh, that's one thing I want to promote. Crystal's movie.
Yes.
You know, it's now it's too late to vote for it because it's Monday, but you know, that was a really cool experience, and really proud of her that she wrote and directed Malibu Stacy. So if you ever get a chance to watch it, Google it, you know, support her. There's actually a new Instagram handle at Malibu Stacy on how you can check it out. So
Malibu Stacy's the name of the movie.
Yep.
That also sounds like a white woman that did something to like a little black kid, and like like a Karen, and that's her name, like Barbecue Becky in Malibu. That's hilarious. I'll promote. What's your Instagram handle? Manny Martin Jr.
Yep, at Manny Martin Jr. On Twitter and on Instagram.
And feel free to message Manny, or or say you heard him on the podcast or enjoyed him. Give him a follow. Yeah. And I'm obviously at Big Irish J. Things I'm promoting are coming up. Let's see. I'm doing 3 weeks at Looney Bins across Middle America. Let's see. Next weekend or this weekend, as you're listening to this on the 15th, I'll be at the Looney Bin in Wichita. The week after that, I'll be at the Looney Bin in Tulsa. And then the weekend after that, the 30th, I will be at the Looney Bin in Little Rock, Arkansas. You can go to bigirishj.com for all the dates. And thanks, everybody, for listening. And keep sending in. If you have questions or comments, you can send them to bigirishj@gmail.com. And you can just put love in black and white in the title. And we'll maybe give you a shout-out on the podcast. Until then...
Bye.
No, you got to put the love back in him, Manny.
Oh, yeah.
Fuck.
Till then, we're going to put the love back in you.
All right, see ya.